He's pretty vicious.
Yeah, he's fun, he's great. But the first day was like 2 hours at the vet. The next day he had a little bit of a mess. Next day I was like, this dog is high maintenance, man. But he's fine, he's very sweet.
We're talking about Gavin's personal road dog, who's a Rottweiler in the shape of a Pomeranian.
Yeah, carefully just listen, anyone could walk down the street with a pit bull and feel like a,
That's
you
true.
know what I mean, like a dude. It takes a real man to walk with a Pomeranian and big outfits. It's a great look.
Well, welcome to 101 WKQX. Welcome back to Chicago.
Thank you.
We've missed you. And with a sold-out show at the Riv tonight, I wanted to make sure that you had everything that you needed. So I got you a little present.
Oh.
Which I have been told by my English friends that this is the proper English tea.
That's the one.
PG tips. This is good?
Yeah, I read a really weird quote that I gave, because I always say weird things and I read them and I go, what idiot would say that? And I said like, I'm English, so I drink PG tips, and if you don't drink PG tips, you're probably not English. So, I just happened to read that last night.
Oh, well, you're English and
I am.
Okay,
Thank you.
wanted to actually prepare it for you, and I've actually been asking people the proper way to make English tea, because I'm pretty sure how I make it in the microwave is not.
Oh, yeah. I was like thinking, when you said that, I was like, how could you mess it up? And like right away.
Yeah, immediately.
Because what it does is that sort of really weird sort of like gunk goes on the top of it. It never looks like hot, like the water, you know what I mean, from a microwave.
I don't actually own a
Do you
kettle.
have a kettle? You don't own a kettle?
Do I need to get a kettle?
Obviously not.
Okay.
You're doing fine.
I mean, I'm I'm making it, I guess.
Right.
But my tea is probably
I
not
tell you what I
as
would
good.
do is, if you make it in the microwave, I've done it 1,000 times in there, is you just take the hot water and then you as long as you pour the hot water over the bag, that's probably the thing.
That's the key. Okay.
Yeah.
Because somebody else told me something about boiling the water, get the tea bag, and then you throw away the water, and then you just drink whiskey, which I'm pretty sure that's not English tea either.
That's Irish. That's Irish.
Those are my people.
Yeah, there you go.
So you happen to be in Chicago on Friday the 13th.
I know. So I love Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
My whole life I've loved it. Like, I just love it that everyone else gets freaked out and it bugs them. I just always.
You're not superstitious at all.
No.
Not even a little bit.
No, and I've got a bit of Jewish in me, and I heard that I always thought my whole life, I'm probably wrong, that Friday the 13th is lucky in the Jewish world. I'm wrong.
No, you might be right.
Anyway, I like it. I think it's like ridiculous that anyone thinks that Friday the 13th is going to fall like, oh, there's no 13th floor on certain buildings and things like that. It's like
some
so
people
extreme.
take it to the extremes.
It's so extreme. Don't walk under the ladder.
Don't break a mirror, which I actually did this morning.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
It was an accident.
You'll be fine.
So you're not superstitious in the least? There's nothing, not even maybe a pre-show ritual?
Oh, well, that's just like, I have a pre-show ritual, but that's just kind of a fun way of getting together and the camaraderie of the band, more than like, oh my God, if we don't do it. Like I had a friend visit the other day somewhere, and I was talking with him, and we had a drink, and that interrupted the process slightly. And after the show, I was like, man, I shouldn't really do it like that. You know, I gotta just. So I like just being in the room with the guys. Is you know, even if you're not talking, you're just kind of around each other. So you just go on stage, and it's a bit more connected.
I like that. Do you have any kind of like chants you do, or maybe a group hug?
Yeah, we always do like whoever's in the room has to kind of, you know, we'll do that, and then we talk about the show, and then we have a whatever word we're going to say, and we shout that word, and so we do that. Yeah, we do that whole ritual. That stuff is nice.
So you have a different word before every show?
Yeah, because it always depends on what. It's either usually me speaking or Chris, and we're talking about the show and what we're doing here and what we want to achieve out of the show and what the, you know what I mean. So they're all just systems for us to be connected as friends, as people, so that when we play, we listen to each other a bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Pee-wee's Playhouse, where you have the word of the day, and then later on if somebody says it, you all scream.
Yes, yes, that's a very nice way of putting it. Or a 50 Shades of Grey sequel. Yeah. Safe words.
A safe word.
Excuse me.
How
my
timely.
tea.
Ah.
No, I just put them down on your phone.
Friday the 13th, it's also almost Valentine's Day.
So exciting.
So are you, well, me personally, I'm an anti-Valentine's Day fan. It's something I've been doing for like 10 years. It's not a I had to clear this up. It's not a bitter, single, angry anti-Valentine's Day. It's a anti-establishment, F the man, Hallmark holiday.
I've been like, make the 364 other days the most romantic days of your life and take that day off.
Yeah.
Be selfish on the 14th.
Exactly. Well,
yeah, I hear it.
Flowers are great. It's not that I'm anti the Valentine's Day stuff, and I think messages of love are important all the time.
All the time.
But yeah, flowers on a Tuesday for no reason, just because I love you.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
On the same page. So, I don't know if you want to try that at home and to.
Well, yeah, you got to make sure you're
Day.
consistent throughout the rest of the year. That's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's 3 rules. You have to wear all black on Saturday, tomorrow. Get drunk at some point. It's very difficult. And you have to pinch people that are really into the VD thing. So you don't have to pinch them hard, but just like, ding.
All right, like a wake up call.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to jump on board, we're taking questions on Ustream. If you are watching at home, you can submit your questions that way. We're watching Twitter with the hashtag JackLive if you'd like to get your questions in that way. And then we also have our lovely people right here in Studio 7 who have their burning desires to ask you.
Wonderful.
So first, I would like Tony to come up, grab the mic, and
Tony, my fishing
your
champion.
buddy.
Is very strong and very, very successful. How many gold medals do you have?
Just one.
Just one. That's enormous.
2 national champions.
Wow.
No big deal.
I never won anything like a gold medal.
Those I get blue diamond rings for those.
Oh yeah.
National championship.
That's sweet. Congratulations.
I didn't wear them though.
Should tell the
had to take
viewers
the
at home what you got them for.
For ice
Kung Fu fighting, right?
Well, that's only on Sundays.
It's Wing Chun specialist.
Yeah. I'm only a ninja on Sundays.
That's cool.
So my question to you is, can you describe your aha moment when you decided that this is what you wanted to do for a living? That this is what you were born to do.
Right. I don't know if there was like a crazy epiphany, because I certainly remember the first show I ever did, and it was in this pub in Herne Hill in a real rough part of South London. And I remember that it was the first time I'd ever been on stage, and we packed it out with friends and all that stuff. And I remember standing on stage thinking, I hate this. This is the worst experience of my life. This is the worst. It wasn't like I found myself on stage. I lost myself on stage. And then, but I didn't have any better ideas, but I really loved to be creative and stuff like that. And I think that it just became the life that chose me more than I chose it. It was a weird thing. And then when with Bush, when we first went on tour and had audiences show up and they knew our record, that's when I suddenly was like, I felt for the first time in my life that I was in the right environment, that I had chosen the right doors to go through, because up until that point, every door that I went through just felt like a door I went through, Mm-hmm. So that was my biggest moment, was probably coming through the doors of CBGB's in New York City. And it was so crowded I couldn't get through to the stage. It took me like 30 minutes to get through and push past people. Well, it felt like 30 minutes. And that was when I thought something's up here, something is really happening. And I'd spent so many years being such a failure and losing at it that I'd become used to that feeling. So it was like when you won your gold medal, I felt like that.
Yeah, I lost plenty before that.
Right, that's how it goes.
So you keep going.
Right on.
All right.
Thank you.
You just described the crowd at Cubby Bear for the Bush No-Do show. Right. I didn't think I was going to make it to the stage in time to introduce you guys because it was so thick. I mean, that's a sold-out crowd for Cubby Bear.
That was fun. That was really good fun.
That was an incredible show. Were you guys there?
No, but that's very intimate. Great place to go see.
Yeah.
It's just slightly smaller than this room. But only just.
Smaller.
How can we get 3,000 people in this room? I can't believe it. It's a miracle.
I'll grab a question I got off of Twitter with the hashtag JackLive. From @SarahLM77, she wants to know when the next single from Man on the Run will be released.
I think I just was approving the edit yesterday because for radio they make it a bit shorter. Mm-hmm. So that's all done, and we're
Excuse me.
It's okay. More tea, Vicar. So next couple of weeks, I think, really imminent.
And it is
Oh, This House
This
is on
House
Fire.
is on Fire.
I was like, I don't get to choose them ever, you know. I'm always like, I always suggest certain songs and they don't listen to me. So I was like, so I don't know. So I'm excited about that. But you know what I mean? It's a weird one because there could be so many directions it could have gone in.
Like,
I wanted to make every song, you know, at least 5 or 6 songs that could have been singles. So,
okay.
so we'll see. You know, I don't know. It's not my world. I don't really understand.
It is. It's all your world.
Right.
This is your world.
No, I know, but I mean, in terms of that choosing of the single and what, you know, how the people from my management, they have to go out and they have to come and see you guys and be like, hey, how you doing? Could you play this single? So they got to do it. So I don't want to ask them to do something they don't. I want them to be what they most believe in and most feel is using their experience over mine. You know?
I always get that from you, that you're very aware of everyone around you, whether you're working with them or they're attending your shows. You're just aware.
I'm present.
You're very present.
I'm present.
Exactly. Which is a quality that I think, I mean, Bush fans are very passionate, and it's because of you. I mean, it's obviously because of the music, but you make every single person, no matter how big the room is, feel like they're special for coming to your show.
Right on, they are. I'm very grateful to them.
Let's grab another question from Ben. Ben, go.
Hey Ben.
Hey man.
How are you? Is it awkward? You guys got to step up and stand at the mic. How do you feel? You look
awkward. I'm good, man. Hey, so in Constantine, you were directed by Francis Lawrence, who has this really extensive musical documentary background. Did you find like working with someone with a musical background, like at a film, like was that easier on you, or is that even like a consideration when you work with a director when you're acting?
Not so much. I mean, I knew about him because he'd done so many great videos before he kind of took over the movie world. But the most alarming thing about him is that was a $100 million movie, and when I would go to work, I would figure that I was like, wow, I'm the least experienced person on the set. The janitor is way better janitor than I am experienced at what he does than I am actor. Everyone's you know. I was like, shoot, so I better hold my own. And the most incredible thing about him is he's so laid back, and the guy who wrote it, one of the writers on there, Akiva Goldsman, is just really funny and has got a filthy sense of humor, like really, 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 really inappropriate and really funny for it. So he'd always be on the set making really inappropriate jokes, and Francis would be on the set being so laid back that it never felt the pressure of being in that size of a movie, you know. So it was just incredible working with him. You know, I've often found that the most talented people that I come across are the easiest to work with, you know, and the ones who are slightly less talented are the hardest to work with, you know. Yeah, that's what I find. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did anyone ever come up to you afterwards and they're like, "Man, you're looking good"?
Oh yeah, so many times. So many times. Or what they on that film, what they do to me were two things. First off, is most of the time all the gaffers or the electricians, they'd be doing stuff and they'd walk past and they'd be like, get the fucking, oh shit. They say, get the band back together, what are you doing? You know, all the time, they just slide it in there. And then I did like 4 hours of prosthetics before I start my work. You know, they do on your face, because half my face has disappeared in some scenes.
Okay.
So I'd have to go to work at like, I don't know, I think 3 in the morning, and then like do at 7 I'd be ready to shoot. Ugh. And so the funniest thing was to be on the set going to work, and they drive you around in the buggies, and so there'd be like tours going through. I guess that was Warner Brothers did it, yeah. So there'd be tours going through, and so they'd see me, like they see my profile, they'd be like, you know, isn't that what? Because I'd be wearing the pinstripe suit in that scene with that face, and they'd be like, that's, and as I turned slowly, my whole face would be destroyed, like amazing destroyed. Ah, it's great. It's really cool.
Ever think of pulling that back out for Halloween or something?
Super Slipknot style. Yeah, Halloween style. I've gone on stage dressed in sort of mainly bloody doctor's outfits. Anything to do with blood, it's so easy. Wear an outfit, then cover yourself in blood. Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Yeah.
Fake blood.
We have a question from the stream from Rachel Lee. What is your favorite thing about Chicago?
My favorite thing about Chicago is 2 friends of mine that live here, Steve Albini and Heather Winner. They live here. Steve is I made my second record with him. He's a legendary music figure, record maker. And so to come through town, as often as we do and spend time with them is one of the bonuses of being here. So whenever you go to a city where you know people and they live here and they know where to go, and you know, do you feel immediately kind of more accelerated and more in tune with the city kind of thing?
Do you have, maybe compared to earlier in Bush's history, do you have the freedom now to take some time? Where you're not just playing a show, hauling ass.
No, I'm
no time.
I consider like my life, I'm consistently always in a beautiful fist fight. You know what I mean? I'm always like just doing it. I don't really take that time to, yeah, it doesn't really work like that. No, I just got to get out there, play great shows, travel, play great shows, travel, play, so no, walking around is not too much happening there.
That's what vacation
But I don't mind. I mean, it's okay. I'd rather, if I'm away from my family, I'd rather be working. So
definitely,
it's fine.
Well, that's the, I think, hardest dichotomy for you. When we talked at Picnic, was it's like you're excited to go, and you know this life you have in Bush, but you know, coming with that is a little bit of a sadness having to leave.
Sure. But I've always maintained, whenever this subject comes up, and I apologize if anyone's read this before, but it's just the same with anyone who has a job and has children. I think it's really difficult to find the balance, and so we just do, that's it. So I don't feel any way unique about that, but it's a bit rubbish when I don't see them like for 6 weeks, you know.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
Oh.
I'm not
You
crying
make me
right
cry.
now. Chicago's making me all snivelly.
Yeah, I just have to leave. I have a 10-month-old.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
And I miss her already. No, I'm just kidding. No, I really do.
As you should.
Let's grab a question from Angela. Come on up.
Hello.
Hi.
So,
Excuse me.
I don't know how to work this. So, how do you deal with the fame and still remain a humble person?
I don't. I'm really stuck up. I let it go right. I let it go to my head, and I float around on penthouse floors only, and travel around on my own train. Well, because I don't really take it seriously, you know. I mean, I'm in this weird situation with a beautiful wife who's really very famous, and so I just think it's all part of that package. I feel like the sort of the seasoning to that package, you know, and I just feel part of it. But at the same time, everyone, it's weird because to be in this world and this radio world and the touring world, it feels really where I belong most. And that other side of it, where there's sort of like grown men loitering in bushes photographing me, that's less where I belong. You know what I mean? So that always feels alien to me, and I don't feel that it's like, it's patently not directly because of just me. It's because of, you know, Gwen, and because of that whole culture. So it's not like I take full credit for it or even half credit. I'm just part of it. So this is where I feel more natural, and going to play a show tonight where I can equip myself and be myself is much more interesting to me than walking along and being filmed by TMZ asking me an opinion about something that I really am not qualified to talk about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think everyone's just so interested in you guys because you're pretty much, you know, the president and first lady of like rock and roll. I mean, kind of. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you. You know, my job is just to keep the rock going, and just to be on tour, and to be, you know, I never liked it when, like, they'll photograph me at the beach, but they don't get me going to the studio. I'm just like, you hook me up sometime already.
Yeah,
so
give me
like
some
a
pub.
loafer, you know, just like get.
They're like,
so
no, we just want to wait until you take your shirt off.
We want to take to take your shirt off and you're taking a bite of a sandwich. You know what I mean? They're just like us. They eat. You know.
Yeah.
It's so.
So here's the idea. The next time you're going to go to the beach and you see them kind of hounding or whatever, have a plan. We'll figure this out. Something to where maybe it's, you know, maybe you have man on the run sweatbands on, you know, something to where you're furthering your own agenda. Right. Or
I was told Gwen early on, I mean, that probably it wouldn't be any good anymore now, but I was like, she should like totally like take me out, you know, like what, you know, like really beat me up, and I'd be like, oh, you know, all those kind of things, and have this great kind of sequence of her like, you know, beating the life out of me. It was sort of like shake things up a bit, but she wasn't into it.
no.
So we never did it, but yeah, it's a funny thing. But until people, it's just supply and demand. So until you can go to a dentist's office and those magazines aren't there, people aren't reading them. Or we go through the airport and everyone's reading them. Like even my own mum is like, I say, it's really annoying. Got like 30 guys. Sometimes it'll be like 30 men with us at a beach. They'll be like 15 feet away. This is like really annoying. I said, so annoying. She goes, yeah, but the pictures are so great. So
is she like cutting them out and putting them up on the wall?
I think so. I mean, she definitely kind of keeps abreast. She'll make a reference to the pictures we've been in, or like something or other that I was wearing yesterday or something like that. So it just is what it is. I'm also at pains to never really over complain about that stuff, because I think it's there's a flip side to it. So I don't complain.
Well, there's a balance in everything.
Right.
Like you were saying, there's pros and cons, but I can imagine a lot of cons with that kind of stuff. So you said there's like 30 feet away, there's just a bunch of guys that are just standing there watching?
Yeah.
Oh, they're all photographers?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, that's probably just guys that are hoping it's you, so that means there's going to be women around, and they're just hoping to kind of pick up the straggle.
But there's like, if a crowd of 15 people gathers, other people are going to stop and figure out what's going on. So you also get regular people just whipping out their phones, and then you get people that sort of at different levels of it, and then there'll be like people who'll like old. There's a couple of old ladies the other day who were like whipping out the phones, just taking pictures. Didn't know who any of us were.
Yeah.
It was like, well, we might as well get a picture of this. Nothing's happening. I'll find out later. So that's sort of weird, And plus, I see those guys every day. They're the same guys I see every day. So at a certain point, you can't be. You just sort of see them every day, so hey.
You must be nice to them, because they're never.
Yeah,
they're always nice to you.
I am because I see them every day, and when you get annoyed at them, it's like road rage. Ultimately, it's self-harming, because you get annoyed, then they get what they want, and then they leave, and then you feel all flustered, and you ruined your day, and you go, what was the point of that? What did I get out of it?
Yeah.
So you just kind of easier is better. And you move on.
But you've learned and you've prevailed.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been, some mistakes made in the past where you get that one picture where they catch you. You always see
the one that was Sean Penn. Sean cornered that one. He cornered it.
Yeah. On Twitter, you can use the hashtag #JackLive. I'll grab another one from there, from @JRosesSmile. Is it difficult to be so kind and connected to the crowds night after night? Is that hard for you?
No, not at all, because a weird thing, being on tour, the days could be a bit long and a bit draining, and you sort of start to question, is this really, how long should I be doing this? And you finding out what's going on at home, and then, bless you, and then when you do the show, it all makes sense of it. And for me to have got the band back together again, 5 years ago, I'm doing this and have this life where I can still make records I love and travel around and be with my friends and play music. I'm so grateful. I was like, how could I be so weird to be anything else? It'd be so weird, wouldn't it?
Well,
it'd be like, what would he be?
But a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, but I obviously can't comment on other people, so I just go, I'm so happy to see everyone, I get these, I have these paranoias. I go, because sometimes I'm like, I got to tell you, there's times when I've been lazy, so there's a great band I love playing, and I'm gonna go, and then going to be like, do we really have to? And I was like, well, we don't have to, but okay, so we don't go. So I get these paranoias. What if everyone gets up that morning and goes, tonight, I was gonna make a pot roast and stay home. What do you think? So I walk out and there's nobody there because everyone's having pot roast at home. I go so when I see everybody there, I'm really happy about it.
Is that like a reoccurring stress dream for you?
Not
like
too
everyone's home making pot roasts and
I'm basically,
show is
I'm
empty
basically
at the
hungry
Ritz.
most of the time. Can't find good catering. That's why I love coming to Chicago as well. Good food. No, it's not like recurring, like I have OCD about it, but it's something that, especially when it's freezing cold, that it occurs to me. You know what I mean? I go, listen, I got to be honest here. I'd consider, I got a, nice DVD.
Yeah.
Hang it home.
Well,
But-
you're.
So I'm pleased they don't. And I don't think about it too much. So I'm not trying to sort of, what do you do? When you sort of like keep picking at something, then it really becomes a problem. So I try not to do that.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
I know it's going to be very successful tonight because we are tried and true, and this is nothing. This is not even. It's been negative, I think, one time.
pretty sound.
compared to.
I'll get it. Should I get it? Should I get
That's
it?
my alarm.
Oh. Let me get it.
Yeah, we're used. This is nothing. Like, what is it? 10 degrees?
Oh yeah. It's
Right.
gonna be 0 for the low tomorrow night.
Anything, it's too hot.
All right,
Yeah.
you guys gonna need sunblock.
Right?
Gonna get out sunblock on the
it's
show.
Too warm.
Wind block.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
But I noticed the other day when I first went out, because I'm not used to it like you guys, I'm not as hearty as you guys, but the wind avoided my flesh and my skin and went right to my bones. I was like, I walked out, I was like, how did he get to my shin that quickly? Like that quickly. I was
Been
like,
in California too long.
oh man.
I'm curious. Do you remember the first song that you ever wrote?
Yeah, because the first song, well, what happened is that through my life, I've sort of continued to try and learn how to play guitar. And when I first began, I was just a singer, and I played acoustic really badly. And then I was in 2 bands before Bush. And then in my second band, the guys in the band with, he's a very good guitar player, more straight ahead, more maybe like real rock player, really good guitar player, but quite traditional, quite straight ahead, quite bluesy. And it was really interesting to be in a band with him because it sort of helped me work out what band I wanted to be in, what kind of music I wanted to do. And he didn't want me to play. He'd say, just sing, I play guitar, don't play guitar. To write songs with me, we're writing songs together. He goes, just, you should sing and I'll play guitar. Which seems logical because he's a really good guitar player. But it meant that the foundations of the song would come from his chord structures, and so they were his chord structures. Mm-hmm. And then when he broke up with me, and the band broke up because I'm terrible at leaving people. You know what I mean? It's always like a war of attrition with me that last year. Yeah. So I'm not very good at that stuff. So he split, and I was like looking for different musicians to work with and meeting different players in London. And I was like, this is so pathetic. I'm like, say I'm a songwriter, and yet I have to wait for someone else to write songs with. This is not happening. You gotta sit down, write songs. So I played guitar, but I never really sort of put the two together particularly, because I wasn't that good. So my first song that I sat down and wrote on my own was "Come Down," where I did.
What?
Yeah. But I had been writing songs, singing, but I'd never written. That's my first music that I wrote. I like that.
Yeah, first song I ever wrote, "Come Down." Just like the biggest song in the world.
I peaked.
No big deal.
I peaked. I never wrote one as good as that.
That's incredible.
It just, it's an interesting sort of lesson in sort of human behavior and anthropology of that. Well, the only way out is through that. The concept of, okay, well, just let's figure it. It can't be. It's not rocket science. I mean, it's rocket science if you're in the Beatles, and I think that none of us have achieved what the Beatles have written. So I just figured we're on the road, we're on the road to it, and I was like, yeah, wow, okay, and it gave me confidence. And then when I took that song to Nigel, when he began working together, he was busy getting paid to do commercials and sort of training stuff, like not big money, but he was making money from jingles, exactly. Like really weird training films for firms. I was like, because we're feeling each other out, getting to know each other. And he's like probably thinking, oh, another loser with a bunch of songs and long hair. And I was thinking, why is this guy doing this really shitty music? Yeah. But he's got really great taste in music. So I went round and I took him "Come Down." I was like, look, this is the song this is what I've worked on. And so I played it to him and he goes, yeah, I really like this. And he did the demo of it. And then I thought that he would then say to me, he would be then intrigued by my writing and be like, let's write some more songs together, or let's start writing songs together. But he was like, no, it's better if you write them and you bring them to me, because he wanted to continue his day job getting paid. And then I was going off
for Subway employees.
Then I was going to insurance firm training videos, and I would spend the time writing the songs to then take to him. So that is how that's how the dynamic began of me writing the songs and then taking them to him, and then we played them with the band. That's how it was, because he just didn't want to. And then when we sort of had success and had that really big record, they were like, maybe we should write some songs. And I was like, okay, but so they said, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. That was when B-sides were, you put a B-side on a single, so if a single did well, you get paid on the B-side. So we made this deal. They said, well, you guys always write the B-sides then. How about that? And that way you get your creative things out. You still get paid really well because you get paid like the same as a single. And we do it like that. And so they wrote one song that I put the words on called Solomon's Bones. And when we recorded it, the guy hadn't recorded my voice. We did it sort of free form because they didn't want to kind of over arrange it, or it means spend too much time on it.
Sure.
And so I sang it, and he recorded it, and then when we finished, they go, "How was that?" And he hadn't recorded my vocal.
Oh no.
So I had to go back. So everyone left, and I sat in the studio recreating this song, and I was going, "This wasn't the deal. This is your guys' track."
Yeah.
So that was the last time we did it like that. So that's how it's never been like I hogged the writing. It just means that's the process we had.
I have heard you say before that you always write by yourself, but that you always wanted to kind of do a collaborative writing thing.
Yeah, I've tried it. It's always been really difficult, sit in the room. I mean, on my solo record, I did lots of collaborations with other people. My solo record was the most collaborative thing I ever did, which is
like the opposite of usually.
Right, of course. Yeah, this was my solo record. This is the real me. Well, me and like a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
So no, that was a collaborative thing. And then what happens is that when I write with a Bush thing, I'll accept any tracks if they want to give me tracks, and sing on stuff if they want to. Any of the other guys, they're really talented. Chris and Corey, they write their own stuff, they do things. So I say, well, feel free to send me anything. I'd always sing on stuff. I'm not turning down, Sweet Child of Mine. You know what I mean? If I get the music for that, I'll sing on that. So, but they end up doing their own things, and Corey is a producer, and he makes lots of records. He writes for people. Chris writes for people. So they're kind of spent in that area, and then I'm sort of like, let me do my thing, and then if I get to the end of it, then we'll review it. So when I come back with 32 songs, it's not so many open doors into them doing it, I suppose. But then they get really creative on the records. So I don't know, it's how we work. Every band is so different. You just got to get lucky that when you're in a band that everybody knows their position, that's when it's really powerful. It's when everybody wants everyone else's job that it's probably dangerous. And with us, everyone has a real specific function that they fulfill, and we couldn't be the same band without each person doing their individual job.
Sounds like it's very simpatico.
It is. It is. It has to be,
We've got another question from Twitter using the hashtag JackLive. From George, what is the process of selecting opening acts?
It used to be a lot different, weirdly enough. It used to be, I would get a list of about 10 bands. I would suggest about 10 bands, and then from there we would draw down. Okay. And this time around, I keep giving bands I suggest and that I'd like to tour with, and they keep giving me lists of other bands that I'm going to tour with. So we need to get the communication up a little bit, but the timing is just a bit off because this year was going to be Garbage, it was going to be the Deftones, it was going to be Evanescence, it was going to be all these great bands that I spoke to, but everyone's in different time. Deftones are recording now, Garbage is recording now, Evanescence, I don't know if they're recording now. Pumpkins, I know I spoke to Billy about going on tour with them, and then he's got his record, but then I just hearing who we have. I think the summer, because we're doing 2 months in the summer of the Sheds and stuff. So it's nearly confirmed who that is, but it's a changed name from when it began. Like this tour was meant to be Wolfmother. For months it was Wolfmother, which I was really excited about. I love that band. And then apparently they couldn't find the singer for 2 months. He wasn't answering his phone.
Oh my God, is he okay?
I'm not sure, because the idea went away, because I was bummed about that. So they said Theory of a Dead Man and Stars in Stereo. So I got the Stars in Stereo video, and she looked so sprightly and kind of going for it that I was like, I just liked it. There's not enough girls, and I always because I think it's nice for the audience to have a girl's voice and then my voice rather than all male voices. I think it's nice to have the dynamic. And so that was the only girl band, and I liked it. I was like, you know what? I like what they're going for, and she's out there, so let's get them. And then Theory of a Dead Man was they'd had some good radio success. They came off of Chad's label, so they're Canadian, so I knew they'd be easy to get along with. Canadians are really nice people. Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Oh yeah, eh? They're really, they are. Honestly, I've never met a Canadian that isn't easy to get along with, and so that was a simple thing of like, well, okay, and that's how they came about. So I think that now it's just maybe less people are touring. I don't know what it is, but it's I'm happy with where we're at, and I look forward to. And I also said about the summer that I don't have to do 4 months with each of these bands. They can do like a few weeks each. It's like the Garbage don't like to tour for that long.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Because you brought Garbage up, Shirley Manson wrote this really interesting piece acknowledging Kanye West and the whole Grammy situation between him and Beck that I thought was really thoughtful. Just curious if you have any thoughts on the whole situation, one way or the other. Don't even have to go there if you're not.
Well, I mean, I saw it the other day. I watched it, and I definitely, him and his crew, they had a real laugh about him jumping up on the stage. It felt like a sort of a private moment for all of his lot, because it was something they laughed about at the dinner the night before or something like that. And the most telling thing about it, I thought was, it's a little unlucky. Kanye is obviously a really good friend to Beyonce, so he wants to be protective of her, which is a beautiful thing. But it was unfortunate to kind of accuse Beck of lacking artistry when everybody knows that he's a pretty terrific artist. And probably the biggest thing out of the night that anyone could learn is like, Beck's so laid back and so tolerant and so cool that he's like saying, "Come back on stage, I need you," So it was just one of those things. It was, it makes it exciting in music culture to have someone who's like so open and so forthright about things. And I thought Beck handled it great.
Yeah, I agree. I think the biggest part of this whole industry is just supporting other people that are in the same profession, because you're all going through the same challenges. It's, I think, the hardest career path to be successful at. And then once you get to that level of success, there's so many other things that come along with it. Like you're saying, there's people taking your picture. There's so many different elements.
It's just a shame that Kanye doesn't know much about my band Bush, because he'd be a great spokesperson for it.
Yeah.
Because he does great PR for her, right? Yeah. He gets her noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely gets the.
And he's from Chicago, right? He's a Chicago boy.
Yeah. I've learned more about Kanye West since the Grammys than I've ever known in my entire life. Well,
but you know what I mean? It's like, it's that whole thing in pop culture. It's just about to be talked about and to be central is a main goal. A couple of years ago, is a lot of stuff on Miley, and it's just like, how do you get noticed? I mean, it's the hardest thing for everyone is, how does anyone know you even have new music out? The problem is with the world, it's so fragmented. That you don't get to hear. We used to feel number ones. Even if you didn't like the record, you'd know it. Now, it's real hard. What is number one? Who's got the big things going on? So it's almost a shame that because of the lack of sort of there's no MTV in the way that it used to be. Radio and MTV was just like this juggernaut, when we were coming up. And so it's probably a sadder reflection of that. You've got to do kind of outlandish things so people check it out, what you're doing.
Yeah, to cut through the noise.
Yeah.
It's a lot of inundation, I agree. Well, I think you're doing a pretty good job of that.
I'm not sure I am. I'm always convinced that no one knows the record's out, but it's wonderful to have the radio is really helping us, and these shows, and that's what I was saying about that. For me to be on tour and to be playing is such a great thing, because I love to work.
Mm-hmm. Well, and get out and see your people.
Yep.
Because I know everyone in here has Man on the Run. If not a few copies. I know you have to go. He's a sold-out show at the Riv tonight, people. But we have this amazing Jack Daniel's bottle lid that you have signed, and I would like to give it away to someone in here tonight.
People would probably prefer what's inside the barrel than just the top. Do they consider that?
Take the rest of the bottles too.
Actually, why don't you pick?
Okay, but then you read it.
Okay. Deal. I feel like we're at the Grammys. Rick W. Yeah.
There was a 1 in 16th chance it was going to be
There
you.
you go. That thing is beautiful.
Congratulations.
And you all are getting tickets to the show tonight, so make sure you take lots of pictures so we can see. Tag us on Twitter. And thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thanks,
One
Al.
of the most down-to-earth and amazingly talented people that I have the pleasure of coming across.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
Always glad when Gavin Rossdale and Bush are in town. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you guys for joining us.